One thing that's always a challenge when you're living in a foreign country is knowing how much to tip. Some places don't tip at all, some places tip a lot. And when I moved to Mexico, I had no idea what the customs were surrounding tipping. So I figure you can learn from my mistakes and I can make a video to show you guys what I've learned. So I figured there's no better place to start this topic than by looking at my own mistakes. And because I make videos about my life, my mistakes are very easy to find. There was one video in particular, it's now one of my most watched videos. In that video, I tried to see how much food I could get for 10 bucks US. This behind me, this is one of my favorite spots. They've got breakfast combos for as cheap as 50 pesos. And I'm gonna show you guys what one of those looks like. So here I am at breakfast. I'm having a 50 peso breakfast. It was a great meal. It came with coffee, juice, all that stuff. And at the end, I said, don't forget to leave a tip. And I put down 5 pesos, which is a 10% tip, which I'm not defending that choice as saying like, look at me, look what a big tip I left or anything like that. But I thought 5 pesos would be like the minimum acceptable amount. Because back home in Canada, like you tip 10% is standard. 15% if it's really good service. But the number of comments I had hating on me for that 5 peso tip.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Yeah. And I get it, guys, 5 pesos isn't that much. And I'm also a foreigner, so some people might assume I have more money to spend and that I should be contributing more to the Mexican economy. I completely understand that. So I guess from that experience, what I learned is that 5 pesos for a sit-down meal really isn't a good tip, even if the combo is only 50 pesos. In the future, I'd probably recommend tipping 10 or 15 pesos. I don't know, guys. This is just me like reacting to those comments I got. Maybe some other people will say 5 pesos is a fine tip. Maybe some people don't even leave tips at restaurants like that.
Come on, throw in a buck.
I don't tip.
Jesus Christ.
I really don't know what the Mexican standard is. So I encourage you guys who are watching this, who are from Mexico, let me know. Like, if you're having a basic breakfast that costs 50 pesos, what do you think a fair tip would be? Because as much as I'm making this video, I'm not doing it just to share all the answers. I'm doing it to start a conversation. A bit later in that video that I made, the $10 challenge, I had some street food. And you know, the guy was nice. He let me get my camera and get some shots of the food. So I figure I would give him a tip as well. So I gave him, you guessed it, a 5 peso tip. And then I had other people in the comments tell me that, Dan, like, you don't tip street food. You're not supposed to tip in that situation. And then I just put my hands up and I said, I give up. If I tip, I'm wrong. If I don't tip, I'm wrong. But then I was speaking to a Mexican friend of mine and he said, you know, most Mexicans don't tip street food, but I think it's a good thing you tipped because those people work hard too. So why don't they deserve a little tip every once in a while?
These people bust their ass. This is a hard job.
So is working at McDonald's, but you don't feel the need to tip them, do you?
So I would say that, yeah, like if you're a tourist visiting Mexico, don't be shy to leave a bit of a tip if you're getting street food, especially if they're nice to you, but it's not expected. You don't need to feel bad about not giving a tip because it's not expected. So that's kind of what I learned about Mexican culture. 2 things that surprised me. Number 1, maybe they tip a bit more in Mexico than they do in my country, Canada, where 10% is an okay tip. Maybe in Mexico it's more like 15 or even 20. And also, it's not expected to tip street food. As I said at the start, it can be really hard for someone like me to know what to tip. So I'm making this video not to have all the answers, but to start this conversation and hopefully hear in the comments what the correct answers are. So I encourage all of you who are Mexican to let me know, what would you tip on a 50 peso breakfast? Do you tip at street food? And is there anything else about tipping culture that someone like me should know when visiting Mexico? Don't we kind of look the same? Like if I grew this in. Okay, anyway, that has been my tipping video. Bye.
No!